Hi, join us as we go live to Venezuela, where President Nicolás Maduro is offering statements. Let's listen. The president is referring to back to the Homeland Plan as today there was the return of over 170 migrants that were unfairly transferred by the U.S. government to the Guantánamo Naval Base. President is referring to this plan, back to the Homeland Plan, that the country is performing to return to the country Venezuelan nationals that are being at this moment part of the process of deportation, of massive deportations of the U.S. government. And let's remember that this would be the third flight that is going to arrive in the country since February of this year, when on February 10th, President Nicolás Maduro announced the return to the country of over 100 migrants. This is part of this process. Let's listen to the statements of the President, Nicolás Maduro. As we are mentioning, President Nicolás Maduro is referring at this moment to the Back to the Homeland Plan that is today bringing back to the country and rescuing over 170 migrants that were taken by the U.S. government unfairly to the Guantánamo Naval Base, a territory illegally occupied by the U.S. in Cuba. They are returning at this point today from the Guantánamo Naval Base. Let's recall that this would be the third flight that would arrive in the country since February 10th. On that day, President Nicolás Maduro announced the return to the homeland of over 100 migrants from the United States through this Back to the Homeland Plan that is guaranteeing the safely return to the country and under dignified conditions of its connationals that are being deported from the United States as part of the process of massive deportations that President Donald Trump announced on the first day in office on January 20th. Let's recall that the Back to the Homeland Plan has no precedent in the world. Goes to look for its migrants. Venezuela gives them affection, and not only that, but it reintegrates them in the country, in the social life of the country. Approximately 914,000 Venezuelans have returned to the country in the framework of this plan that has been in force for over 5 years already. Let's recall that also many Venezuelans who have returned to the country were in the United States. Let's recall also that the protocols are being established at this point to guarantee the immediate attention of the returnees and also their reception, their medical examination. They are brought back to the country under safe conditions, under dignified conditions, no handcuffs, as there were images of many deportees from the U.S. that were handcuffs, for example, Colombians and also Brazilian deportees. This is not happening in Venezuela. Venezuela is not allowing this. Venezuela has this strong process established to return, for the safe return of their migrants to the country. There are conditions established. Let's listen. There are safe conditions for the return, the safe return of the deportees, of the nationals, of the Venezuelan migrants to the country. There are warranties of the humane treatment that will be provided to all returnees, remembering that this is the homeland of all of you, the President Nicolás Maduro has mentioned. In addition, he emphasized the effort made by the Venezuelan government to bring his compatriots. Let's listen to the statements of President Nicolás Maduro at this point.
And we resolve the supply and the total supply of the country. They said, we're going to bring them back, and then afterwards they described them as members of the Tren de Aragua, and they said that they were delinquents. No, they're not criminals. They are our sons, they are our compatriots, they are people of well-being. And who are bringing them back? The revolution. The meeting with the family. That's the truth. And the truth with its light will open all the paths. They have been trying to utilize this campaign of the Biden administration about the Tren de Aragua. About that, I have a very clear position, and I tell Donald Trump with respect, please look for the reports of the last 4 years of the FBI and DEA, of the Colombian officers, so that you can see President Donald Trump, who were the ones that were funding, who were the ones that were moving, who were the ones that were directing the famous Tren de Aragua, who took the Tren de Aragua to Colombia, who took them to the United States. And ask for the report so that you can know that in Venezuela we defeated, we dismantled, we finished with that group of this criminal, violent group that pretended utilize themselves from Colombia with deep ties with the former Biden administration to bring terrorism to Venezuela. If something can be said about the terrorism in Tren de Aragua, the defeated Tren de Aragua, is that they wanted to attack with terrorism the city of the countries, and we foiled with intelligence, with actions. President Donald Trump, you ask for those reports and you will see. I'll tell you sincerity and with respect, so that you can see the truth about the infamous Tren de Aragua. The migrants are not criminals. They're not bad people. They're people that migrated because of the sanctions. They're actually people of well-being, people that are working, and Venezuela has welcomed them back as a productive forces with a hug, a loving hug. Come back to our country to meet your family. Welcome. Everybody's welcome. These are very humane things, let me tell you, that are moving us. Because these things are being manipulated. We have faced very manipulations. We have faced many things. The truth is that there's no other country in the world, not even one country in the world, that has a plan like come back to a country like ours. We have that from 2018, from very early days. And I turned that into a great mission. The great mission come back to the country, and I designated the Anais as a leader of the mission, though, come back to our homeland, a woman of great human quality, of great capacity, and besides of a great sensibility about the family issues, about the children, about the so-called adolescents that I call them the builders. So these are very sensible issues, and I forgot to tell you, Diosdado is not here because he's there. And if he's there, he cannot be here. Diosdado went to Honduras, right? Diosdado is at the international airport because we are welcoming the migrants with the highest level, to hug them on behalf of all of us, to those boys. And I ask you, as I asked before, Diosdado, that in that territory, in the communes, in the councils, the leaders of the streets and the communities attend to these boys. Many of them come here with a trauma for many things that happened. The coyotes, they stole them, they actually cheated them. And they lived very, I cannot tell you how much suffering. They were actually treated by psychologists. Only a Christian revolution, Bolivarian humane revolution, can treat his migrants the way that we treated them. The migration issue was instrumentalized, was implemented. Okay, I forgot, Mr. President Trump, I forgot to say, as the reports of how many dollars the USAID gave to the International Organization of Migration, to the United Nations organization, so that you will see, President Trump, that they stole thousands of millions of dollars, and to help the Venezuelan migrants, they stole, the bureaucrats of the United Nations stole the money. We have the names here. We have our foreign minister that can tell you that. Ivan Hill. We have all the names and surnames, and they stole full-handedly. The former president of Colombia stole on behalf of the Venezuelan migration. Juan Guaidó, Leopoldo López, María Corina Machado, Julio Borges, Antonio Ledesma, Carlos Paparoni, Miguel Pizarro, David Smolarsky, among others. They stole millions, billions of dollars from the people that contributed to the USAID. They said that they were going to support the migrants. Besides what they stole, the transnational trafficking of human beings, also to take them from Chile, from Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, through the United States. We have to say, actually, in the framework of this workshop, the pending issues are many pending issues that we have. We have many issues that we still have to. But what is true is that what is being born is worthwhile. The effort is worthwhile. The sacrifice is worthwhile. The work. And in an integral way, we will have to implement in the territory, without any doubt, should have the center of the new power, with the closeness by the government, the governors, and doing everything they have to do so that the resources of the state, the great missions, the great plans are not left in words, are not left in management, are not left on the road, and that reach the places that they have to reach, and that they transform themselves into plans and great missions of higher level. We have everything. Nothing, we don't miss anything to start walking on this road. So I think this workshop is actually, this workshop of the system of governance, of popular government, is actually marks a before and after. So I just trust in the creating powers of each one of you, as governing people, as people governing. So we're going to the struggle, we're going to the struggle, we're going to the victory of the birth of a new state, a communist state, a modern state, a democratic state in Venezuela. Congratulations. Let's go to the streets. Let's go to the action. Thank you very much, dear comrades, dear. And long live the homeland, and long live the new system of governance. Until victory.
We were live to Venezuela. We were listening to President Nicolás Maduro, who referred to the return of 177 Venezuelan migrants who were unfairly taken by the U.S. government to the Guantánamo Naval Base. Through this plan, the Bolivarian revolution is guaranteeing the safe return of all its nationals under dignified conditions, a return that takes place within the framework of an open, direct dialogue between the Venezuelan government and the United States. The president also also condemned the U.S. designation of the already extinct Tren de Aragua as a terrorist organization. And this is all for the moment. Stay tuned with TeleSUR English for more details on these remarks.